What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we are going to be talking about speedsters. Today is all about speedsters. Now, tell me, who makes the best speedsters? The movies or anime? But for me personally, I just pick the anime ones. To me, they give the better versions of speedsters. That's what I think. But today we are going to be watching how Anime Master the speedster archetype was made by probably Riku. Now let's get into the video.
Speedsters are some of the most captivating, scene-stealing characters in all of fiction. Everyone remembers the Quicksilver scene from X-Men Days of Future Past as perhaps the best on-screen.
Now, the introduction to this Quicksilver is the best I have ever seen of any speedster. That is, the introduction to him is the best introduction I've seen of any speedster ever. Like he just came to the school with the card, with the school address and so on, just left it. The thing was just in the air. He just zoomed off and started saving everybody in the class. And what made it more interesting was that he was nonchalant about it. He was even moonwalking, I suppose. He was just moonwalking and was going back. Like, and this one was fun. When he saw the two people kissing, I was just disgusted by that. It was very, very fun. And I think that's how they should make speedsters. Because how can you be so fast and then be so serious? It's not possible. It doesn't go well like that. Because if you're so fast, now everybody's so slow, you get bored. And that's why you become very, 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 very unserious about things that people are saying because the way you perceive time is different from the way other people perceive time. And that's why I like the introduction to this Christopher. But they didn't date at the end of the day. That's just my issue with them.
Depiction of the insane implications of having a character move at nearly 10,000 times the speed of sound, only for the writers to then have the same character capable of being in real physical harm from Walmart Thanos, who is notably not a speedster himself. This inconsistency in how speed
They did this nigga DT 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. Two in Fox, one in MCU. Like it was just so annoying. 3 fucking times they did this nigga dating. First one is this guy. I don't know how he was able to catch him. That is Apocalypse. I don't know how Apocalypse was able to catch him. The second one was Jane. How? How did Jane catch him? You know, in Marvel, I read somewhere to say that the speed of thought is faster than the speed of light. It may make sense, but is Jane? How did Jane know that he was coming for her? Like, how could she react? God damn. And then the Quicksilver from the MCU, plus Bullet killed him. Wasted that guy. It was annoying. I hated that scene. They just introduced him and just killed him. In the same movie. In the same movie. Others had like 2, 3 movies before they died. He died in the same movie.
and how speedsters are treated plagues both the MCU and DCU, and don't even get me started with this clown. And this fatal flaw both undermines
Flash.
and ruins these incredibly powerful characters because the writers want to have their cake and eat it too.
Plot bullets. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 back shots. Killed this my guy. He had a lot of potential. They killed him. And
Where speedsters can move at physics-breaking speeds, but also can be shot with regular bullets from normal dudes. But anime speedsters? They're simply just built different. And today, I want to discuss why anime has truly mastered the speedster archetype. To begin this discussion, we need to answer exactly what is wrong with the Western depiction of speedsters, and what most people get wrong when writing them. And I think it boils down to 3 simple concepts. First issue has to be the concept of perception, and more destructively, the speed of general cognition matching the physical capabilities of the speedster himself. What does this mean exactly? Well, if we look at the well-respected depiction of a speedster in Megamind's Metro Man, his ability to literally sit down and ponder his existence while the rest of reality is completely paused is mind-boggling. It's not as if he's running around to maintain the slowed perception of reality. I mean, the guy is literally sitting down having some french fries, reading a book, and due to his absolutely insane speed, nothing else on screen is moving whatsoever.
I just want to say that this girl looks like Spider-Man, the Japanese Spider Girl.
However, the issue that stems from this problem in having speedsters comprehend and perceive reality in this slowed manner should remove all threat capable of harming this individual, and from a story writing perspective, this annihilates any concept of tension or fear we the viewers should feel for our speedster because they've been written to be a god. But what do writers do after putting themselves in this narrative hole? Ask you the viewer not to think about it so much and look at the flashy effects like a good little idiot. The second issue is much more simple to conceptualize, but the narrative implications are much greater. Western depictions of speedsters almost always follow the design principle that speedsters' powers derive from some sort of superpower and almost never is tied to hard work or physical achievement. Flash, Metro Man, Superman, or even Omni-Man all move at their insane speeds not due to any training on their part, rather some external force that they were either born with or happened upon by accidental circumstances. There's no struggle or adversity to overcome to achieve this godly power, and so the reward of these speedsters defying logic and reason to accomplish their physic-breaking speeds isn't nearly as moving. I mean, who would you respect more? The natty guy who's been working day in and day out for years, overcoming that skinny guy physique to become a Greek god? Or that one dude you knew in high school who was blessed with peak genetics and was 6'5", 280 at 15 years old? Or God forbid we look at dorks like these. Lastly, and probably the most important concept, has to be that the idea of this god tier power must come with some kind of restriction or drawback that limits the functional capability of the speedster in order to re-inject a natural sense of tension and allow for both the viewer and writers to reason with why this omnipotent power wasn't used in X or Y scenarios. This can be summed up with a single word: consequences. What are the ramifications of having this power to the speedster himself or the world around him? And it's here where we reach how anime truly has mastered this archetype. Might Guy, Zenitsu, and Toji will be the focus characters for this deep dive because I think each of them provides a significant and unique perspective on what it means to be a speedster in anime. To me, Might Guy and to a lesser extent Rock Lee are the greatest depictions of a speedster done in anime, period. And I've wondered why that is for some time now. But after sitting down and thinking over why that might be, the answer sort of came easily. Whenever Might Guy is on screen, he's doing one of two things: inspiring the youth or captivating every pixel of every scene with his immense and awe-inspiring speed and physical capability. And everything he does is strengthened by the key principle of his character being that hard work can achieve anything, even if that means punching air so hard it ignites into fireballs, or kicking fast enough that it
I used to think that this stuff was actually jutsu till this fight did not explain that you just punch in the air and the friction is creating the fire. But I used to think that it was actually jutsu.
bends reality around him. But unlike the Flash or Superman, what has Might Guy given up in order to achieve this power? A lifetime of grueling physical effort and staying absolutely locked in for nearly 30 years straight. Every ounce of his immense power is tempered by the fact that the 8 Gates technique still destroys his body and in the worst circumstances will completely annihilate him. Having to pay the cost of ripping his body apart despite spending a lifetime earning his immense speed is powerful. Despite this character achieving so much in life through sheer willpower and determination, he still has to pay a heavy cost each time he wants to access this amazing power. And when all the cards are laid out, facing down a world-ending threat like Ten Tails Madara, he's willing to sacrifice it all, give up everything, and call upon the greatest power capable to him in order to preserve the next generation. I mean, wow. And that's just the narrative side of things, and already we can see the huge disparity in how these characters are treated when compared to Western adaptations of this archetype. Logistically, how Might Guy functions is also a huge departure from the likes of Flash or Omni-Man. Despite being physically capable, his normal state of being isn't in bullet time, and he certainly isn't capable of processing information at the speed that he physically moves. The separation between cognition and physicality is integral to the portrayal of a good speedster because we the viewers don't need to suspend all disbelief whenever this character is in any harm whatsoever. Imagine if Might Guy could ragdoll Madara like Quicksilver did to Apocalypse, only for Kisame to land a blow against him. Not only would the power scaling community literally implode, but the narrative implications of this exchange would serve to be disastrous for every single encounter he would face in the future, and retroactively would affect each interaction between Kisame and another character. Next, let's move on to Zenitsu, another speedster from Demon Slayer. What Zenitsu brings to the table is the concept of temperance in how speedsters are written, and more importantly, when their powers are applied. Despite my opinion that Might Guy being an incredibly well-written speedster in anime, you know for certain that in nearly every fight of his, he will use the 8 Gates almost immediately. However, where Zenitsu shines is in the restraint of the writers with how his powers can be utilized. If you don't know, Zenitsu is the archetypal scaredy cat, afraid of every encounter and is unable to use his breathing technique under normal circumstances, unlike every other demon slayer in the series. But when the sense of dread overwhelms him, he literally passes out, and usually just for a few scenes, his full power is unleashed and magic happens. When Zenitsu enters his calm state and accesses his powers, it's just chills, and they accomplish this with a character that does one technique, which is effectively linear movement but really fast. Contrast this to Sloth from Fullmetal Alchemist, who effectively has the same capability, high-speed linear movement, and immediately the differences are clear between
The first time I saw Slot in Full Metal Alchemist, I thought that nigga was brain dead. I thought it was like just a brain dead monster just moving. Until this guy just speed bliss everybody. I was like, damn. Because I thought it was just a useless character, like among the easy homunculus or what they call them. So he just moved so fast. I was like, damn, like what these people want to do, like what they want to do against him. And that fight was epic. That fight was epic.
anything Sloth does and everything Zenitsu does, and this is largely in part due to how often Zenitsu can access his power versus many other speedsters. Secondary to the concept of restraint, I think Demon Slayer in anime to a greater extent demonstrates the physical consequences of something moving at these ridiculous speeds. Take a look at this scene from the recent Flash movie. When he begins to run, look at the world around him. The Flash is running at several hundred times the speed of sound, and nothing around him is being affected. The cataclysmic destruction that should be taking place around him as a consequence of moving at these speeds should shatter the cities around him, and yet the only physical structure affected by the Flash is the water he runs on. So clearly the writers know that matter should be displaced by his movement, yet intentionally create an inconsistency that ruins the immersion of what is taking place. This cherry picking is much less prevalent in anime due to the genre being centered around the spectacle. I mean, just take a look at my guy at his absolute max power. Look at the impact and destruction taking place around him, the ground being torn apart just by his presence. The physical consequence of his power is being translated through the physics of the scene, whether exaggerated or not. And that consistency matters to preserve the impact that this level of raw power can and should have. Imagine my guy running across the battlefield at his max power, and instead of the animators demonstrating how much force he's carrying through the environmental destruction, we instead see him gliding across the ground like the goofy Flash did. All of the impact would be stolen from the scene immediately. But the animators of Naruto and anime in general want us to see the immense power and how much impact these characters have in each scene they're in. Might Guy's or Zenitsu's speed isn't just a narrative tool to propel the plot. Their speed is integral to every scene they take part in, unlike the Flash or other speedsters whose speed is simply an afterthought that is less integral to their impact than I personally view that it should be. Lastly, we got the shining light of 2021, Toji. Despite being smack dab in the middle of the pandemic, JJK was rolling out one of the best anime of the modern generation, and more importantly, gave us the brand new thirst trap Toji. Conventionally speaking, you may not consider Toji to be a true speedster, given the fact that he's never seen operating in bullet time. But I think when we're looking through the lens of anime, he qualifies just fine. But more importantly, I want to talk about one aspect of Toji and his depiction as a physical powerhouse that is completely foreign to Western design philosophy. Despite Toji being from a world with superpowers, in this case being cursed techniques, his physicality is shown to surpass the likes of the very superpowered characters that he faces. Gojo, Dagon, and even Megumi all have abilities that defy logic and can summon what is effectively pocket dimensions through the use of their power. And yet Toji completely stomps them through their hacks with sheer speed, power, and tactical acumen. This aspect of anime, in letting characters with immense physical capabilities be an anomaly, even in the context of worlds with characters who can bend space and time, is fantastic to watch and gives help to strengthen their impact on the screen despite what their adversaries can do. Anime ensures that these characters feel special despite being objectively less magical or superpowered than their contemporary. Contrast this to the DCU depiction of the Flash and the CW version, who I have purposely tried not to bring up since every content creator has been around the block with that show, but for very good reasons. In the DCU, Flash can do one thing: move fast. That is his identity at the root of every scene that he's in. That is where he can make his impact, by moving faster than anyone. But immediately, that key character trait is undermined by the likes of Superman, who in addition to having flight, unmatched speed, durability, laser vision, and a myriad of other powers, apparently is fast as the dude who can only run fast. In order to venerate Superman, they sacrificed the Flash's entire character and power set. Similarly, in the CW Flash, Captain Cold for all intents and purposes is a normal dude with a gun that shoots cold, and in the same scene, Flash is both seen dodging this beam and unable to dodge the beam. And of course, this is done for a sense of tension or threat to the episode, but it does more damage to the character than it does good.
Angie.
Whereas in anime, think of Might Guy versus Kisame at any point in the series, or Toji versus Gojo. Gojo and Kisame are facing down serious levels of speed, and if the DCU or CW writers were handling these fights, one of two things would surely happen. Either Gojo or Kisame would inexplicably match their opponent's immense speed gap and just keep up with them, so we can see their adversaries trading blows, or conveniently, the speed of Guy or Toji would be much slower in one scene when the riders need them to be hit, and much faster in the next scene when they need to mount a counterattack. But if we look at how these fights were handled in the anime themselves, never do we see Toji or Guy matched in raw speed by Gojo or Kisame. Each character has to come up with unique and equally powerful countermeasures to match the raw speed of their opponents using skills of their own, rather than just adopting newfound speedster powers for this battle. Because of course they just can't keep up and close this immense speed gap, because that would be stupid. And yet here we are. Imagine if suddenly, amidst the battle, Gojo decided to trade blows hand to hand with Toji and somehow managed to come out of the exchange not completely annihilated. You'd think, wow, so Toji is trashed here. Okay. And stop caring about the fight immediately. But in the instant that Toji closed the gap on Gojo, what happened? Gojo, the pinnacle of sorcerers, was dismantled instantly, and it's through that intelligent and conscientious writing on the behalf of the manga writers to know that Toji is so superior to Gojo physically that if he were ever to close the distance, there should and were dire consequences. And to me, that's beautiful. I wait the day more speedsters get adapted to.
And yeah, actually, what I say here is the truth. This is why I prefer, you know, anime versus any Western cartoon or animation that they make. That is when in terms of the way they fight. You understand? Because if two characters are fighting, each character will fight based on their own skill. So if one character is faster than the other one will have to compensate, find something else that is based on his own skill, hmm, in order to combat the factor that the other person is faster than him. He won't just magically just gain speed from thin air. And that is why I like the way anime do their fight scene. Like when it comes to power scaling in anime and fight, like between two characters in the same anime. And one perfect example now is Sasuke versus Deidara. Immediately Deidara noticed that Sasuke was faster than him. The guy just took off. He's just there flying, just climbed on top of his bed and was just flying. Kept that distance. I know Deidara is a long range guy, so all he did was just keep that distance and kept on spamming attacks from that distance. And that made him last, long in the fight. And that made the fight interesting because you'll be thinking, if Sasuke can't close the gap, how will he get to Deidara? How will he win this fight? You understand? And that made that fight interesting, to be sincere. Really.
Film with the
And this girl, I want to talk about this girl, is it Macaria, another beautiful speedster, another beautiful display of how a speedster should be. Like,
same level of respect and care that anime writers and animators seem to, so we can begin rebuilding the
same.
glorious image of the speedster archetype that the Flash in almost every single one of his iterations has desperately tried to tear down. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, liking and subscribing really helps.
Now let's get back into our main discussion now, our ending discussion, which is which deaths can be justified. That is between Minato and Quicksilver. Now the thing here is Minato is that the guy teleports. He could just have teleported, his wife and his kid away from the scene. Then Kurama will just miss his target and then he brings them back. Simple. But and instead, what did he do? He jumped in front of Naruto and got back shots. That is just crazy. I was just thinking about it. I was like, how could you just die like that? But at the end of the day, it just proves the fact that no matter how much you prepare for a situation, you cannot be as prepared as the situation is for you. I'm a philosopher. I'm a philosopher. Ask about me. You understand? So that's what I just thought about. And again, Naruto is very fast. If you watch that Six Tails versus Pain, you see how fast Naruto was. Naruto is very fast. So Naruto's one is quite justifiable, to be sincere. But for Quicksilver, uh-uh, plus bullets, kill this nigga out of nowhere, just bullets. Lost Bullet just wasted my G. Like he didn't even stand a chance. And he's fast. Like couldn't you just write that he picked up something to deflect the bullets? Like why? Why would they kill him like that? Wasted this guy. Wasted this guy in one movie. In one movie. Just wasted him like that. So I feel so bad for him. I feel it's basically bad writing. They just used to just end the guy and move him from the script. Or maybe he had to die so that, Wanda will see a reason to be pissed off. He had to die, and Vision had to die, so that Wanda will see have enough reason to just be angry with the entire world. I feel like that's how it just was. And with that, I just want to say thank you for tuning into this, you know, for tuning into this section, this YouTube video. Please like and subscribe. I really need that. Please, please, please. So thank you so much. And